Thinking about upgrading your home? Hello, I'm Philip Pantana. Whether you want a modern kitchen, a stunning bathroom, a sturdy deck, or even a brand new addition, our company, Perimeter Remodeling and Restoration, can make it happen. From quick interior repairs to full-scale renovations, homeowners trust us for expert craftsmanship and excellent service, always delivered with the care you deserve. Schedule your free consultation now at perimeterva.com. Call or text 434-515-2868.
This is Talk Local to Me from the Central Virginia Business Coalition. Streaming live each week on Media Squatch Plus and available on demand in the app or wherever you get your podcasts. Local stories, local business, local impact.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to Talk Local to Me. So I actually forgot we had a new intro. And we just did it last week, but when it started, I was like, wait a minute, whose music is this? But that's ours. It's really exciting. I love it. So I'm Heather Alto with the Central Virginia Business Coalition. My co-host, Mike Norfield, could not be with us today. But of course, I'll give his plug for Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Home Care. Make sure if you're looking for any, if you need any services for your, whether it's your parents or anyone that may need in-home services, contact Mike. So we are getting close to the end of July. I know I've been talking a lot about Christmas in July here. Everyone's doing Christmas in July specials. We've been doing one at the CVABC for membership, and we're trying to highlight different businesses along the way. Of course, always encouraging you guys to shop and support local in our area when you are looking for, gift giving ideas or, just things to do, people to support. Make sure you're doing that locally. And I know it sounds weird to be talking about Christmas in July because technically it's like 5 months away, but it'll be here before you know it. And I know people start to buy things, shove them in your closet, forget you put them in there, like me. And then I can't find them when I'm looking for them, and I do it all the time. But make sure you're supporting local. We are we've already put out information about the Christmas parades coming up. So you can find that information if you're interested in being part of the Lynchburg or Bedford Christmas parades. The information for that is on our website, cvabc.org. You can go ahead and get registered for that. Give you time to start creating your float. Our theme this year is a parade of trees. And so we're kind of hoping that these floats and things will highlight, different Christmas trees. You can theme your trees like kind of to your business or, have a float where you're, got families decorating, just, togetherness, all that great stuff. So start thinking about what you want to do for the Christmas parade, because we love seeing all of the creativity that comes through each year with the themes. And of course, Visiting Angels is our float sponsor this year again. So if you highlight Visiting Angels somewhere on your float, you have an opportunity to actually win some cash. So that's really cool as well. We have some upcoming things. Coffee Talk this week for anyone who's interested in coming out and networking. We always talk about the importance of building relationships and networking. So this Friday, we're at Sweet Indulgence Bakery right off McConville Road. If you are in the Lynchburg area and want to come out and from 8 to 10 and network, that is where we will be. And I am sure that you will have some really good bakery goodies that Ashley is going to be providing there with Sweet Indulgence. So we look forward to seeing you at that as well. Bedford Centerfest is coming up September the 20th. Make sure you get your booth for that as well. We still are open. We shut down applications the second week of August. So make sure that you are getting in. It is from 10 to 4, September 20th, right here in downtown Bedford. We currently have, I want to say, close to 120 some vendors already signed up. We've got bands, we've got food trucks, got a lot of great things happening with that. So make sure you don't miss out on that opportunity. You can also register for Centerfest on our website as well. And that's really all the upcoming stuff I have for CVABC right now. Summer tends to slow down just a little bit with vacations, and a lot of our business owners are taking some much needed time off throughout the summer, or spending time with their kiddos while they're not in school. So we don't have as much going on, but Yeah, so you can, like I said, find all of our information there. But we do have two guests joining with us today, and I am really excited to speak with both of them. Our first guest, and I am really excited to learn more about this business because I think it is so unique in our area, and I'm just really excited to find out more. So I have Chantel West with me here, and she is the owner of the Wick and Pour Candle Bar. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to learn more. I wanted to kind of just start out with, tell us a little bit about the candle bar and kind of how you came up with the concept.
So the candle bar opened in last year. It'll be a year that we've been open. But before that, we were doing pop-up events.
Okay.
We started the concept because during COVID, when everyone was in, I wanted to show creativity by still being able to interact with people. So I started making these candles, and then on the labels, I would write really cool notes to my friends and family who were doing things that were still really cool, but we weren't able to gather to celebrate them.
Mm-hmm.
So as sending the candles, and they were able to burn them in their own home. And then once we were able to gather, we all came together, and it was really cool for us to somebody might be in charge of the wine, somebody might be in charge of food. And this was the activity that we did, and everyone loved it. And through gathering, we found out that we were all facing the same struggles, and that we were more alike than we were different. So I thought it would be cool to bring it to Lynchburg, still on a smaller scale, a more intimate scale, so that people could still see that we are going through the same things and able to talk about it. And it has done exactly what I thought it would do, bring community among people as we gather around the table and we create something, we talk about life.
I love how I always like to check out like the website. So I love on your website where it says that every candle tells a story. And I guess that's kind of what you're talking about, how everyone can kind of get together and, have that camaraderie while they're telling their stories and creating really cool things. So
Exactly.
Yeah. So with the candle bar, tell us a little bit about so people come in and you kind of work with them on how to create them from the ground up, sort of, or how does that work?
So when you come in the candle bar, you can choose between 20 different color vessels, and then about 50. We usually have between 50 and 60 fragrances. So you can blend the fragrances. You can blend up to 3 of them. When you pick out your vessel and your fragrance, we also serve wine. So then we give you a glass of wine or soda, water, whatever you
I
would
love
like.
that. Yeah.
So then once you're seated, we walk you through how to create an eco-friendly candle. Our candles are made with a coconut apricot wax. So it's a vegan blend, all natural. And then the fragrances are clean burning, none of the toxic stuff that causes cancer or anything that you might see in the big brands. So once you're seated, we walk you through how to put the wick together. We use wooden wicks to give it a little crackle when they burn. So once we put the wick together, then you blend. So your ratio of the fragrances is your own. You create it yourself. And then you pour it into the wax. We instruct you on what to do next. And then after your candle is created, you even make your own label. So we give you crayons and markers.
Because who doesn't love crayons?
So that you can show your artistic abilities or lack thereof. And
Right.
you create your own label, and then you can even decorate the top of it with glitter that's made for candles. It's made of eucalyptus leaves, but it has glitter color on it. And then after you're all done and you sit down for a little while longer, the candle is solid enough for you to take home at the end of your session.
So I love how you say lack of creativity. I always talk about on this podcast how uncreative I am, but I feel like this is something that I could probably do and it wouldn't come out looking like a hot mess. So, or it could be a hot mess because it's a candle. Haha. Anyway, but so it's cool because you can kind of craft your own signature scent. And do you have somebody that I guess what I'm wondering is, like, when you're there creating with all the different scents, do you have someone that can be there to say, like, I don't know how well those scents go together? Or is it just kind of smelling them yourself and kind of, I don't know. I feel like I'd probably put something together and then I'd light it and be like, oh, like
You'll
that
be
was not the
surprised.
best.
You'll be surprised at what goes together. We do kind of guide you in your scent selection,
hmm
but it's really up to you. You're able to smell the fragrances together before you make a final decision. And also, once you put it together, if you decide that you don't like the fragrance, because you'll be able to smell it as you're stirring the wax mixture and the fragrance. If you decide that you don't like it, it's no big deal. You just get another fragrance
Oh,
to
okay.
help you.
Okay. Okay, cool. Now, do you have the opportunity, though, for people to purchase candles that you guys have already pre-made? Do you have your own, like, signature collection of candles?
Yes, we have a few signature candles. We have room sprays and car diffusers, but the fun of it is making it yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet. So, how can people just walk in and just do it anytime, or do they have to set up appointments? How does that work?
Yes, so the appointments are online on our website. We are open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
We do have an opportunity for people to message us or email us to get a private event or just a private date night. We do understand that there are some people who work better with just themselves in a private time. So we accommodate both.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit like the private events. How many people do they normally, do you need to kind of have to come in and have a private event? Can it just be a couple, or does it need to be like a certain number?
So you can have just a private date night with yourself and someone else,
Okay.
or you can have a private event. They still cost the same. There's no extra fee. You just let us know the date that works better for you. With the private events, we have a lot of birthday parties, bridal showers, things like that. And with that, if you would like a certain color, like if you know that your wedding colors are Kelly green and navy blue,
Okay.
just let us know. We'll try to get the vessels in that are the colors that you would like them to be.
hmm
If we can't, we still have a lot of colors for you to choose from. Like I said, there's no extra fee. You just let us know. There's actually a 10% discount if you have 6 or more people.
Okay.
The candle bar can accommodate up to 14 people.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I was just sitting here thinking how wonderful that would be for birthday parties. I have my youngest, she is going to be 14 this year, and her birthday's in December. I have a horrible time trying to find something or somewhere to host a birthday party in the middle of winter that, you can't do pool parties, you can't do stuff, but that would be interesting to the preteen, they're kind of past the, FunQuest is, good, but I mean, they're kind of past some of that, but I think this would be perfect to bring a group of girls where they can all create their own candles and, sit around and, put that together. And can people bring in like, their cakes and things like that?
Yes. So you will have the candle bar for 2 hours when you do a private event.
Okay.
So during that time, we'll put together the candle. There's a time in between while the candle is solidifying where people can have food. You can come in up to 30 minutes before and decorate the candle bar
Okay.
to however you would like. And then for the whole 2 hours, you just celebrate.
That is super cool. That is definitely going to be on my list of opportunities for that, because I'm not even gonna lie, this poor baby, I hadn't given her like an actual party in 2 years, because every time I get so stressed because, one, it's around Christmas, and she falls into that like, oh, I'm sorry, it's Christmas, and I should not do that, because my birthday is December 20th, and I know how that feels, but poor thing. So this is really cool, and I love the option to be able to do that in our area. So I'm definitely going to highlight that out and check with you on booking one for her, because yeah, I'm excited for that.
In addition to the candles, you can also make diffusers. So
Okay.
sometimes when there are younger people in the candle bar, you can also make the diffusers where they're flameless. So you can still mix the fragrances just as you would at during the candle bar,
Mm-hmm.
but instead you just have diffuser.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's really neat too, because, a lot of people use candles for like, relaxation, and they can kind of come in and craft that to different scents that may help them even medically in a way, with things like that. I always hear how soothing it is to have like lavender and different, I don't know all of them, but different ways that maybe they can just use those for anxiety and things like that.
Yes, and we have a herbal section that we have lavender, sage. So right now we currently have the fragrances in our summer collection. We have a clean smelling or masculine collection, and then we have a dessert collection where we have some fragrances that smell like lemon pound cake or blueberry cheesecake, and then we have a herbal section.
Okay. And I like that you mentioned the masculine section, because coming to the candle bar is not just for women and girls, but men as well who want to come out and make a scent for themselves.
Yes. And in addition to the candles, we also have a perfume bar. So twice a month, we have a perfume bar where you can come in and make your own signature fragrance. And in addition to that, we have ones that are more masculine for men as well.
Okay. I love that. Now, you have special events that you offer to the community. What are some of the ones that you have that are coming up in our area?
So coming up, we have Christmas in July, where you will be able to make a Christmas themed cookie. And it's more like a nailed it event, because the person has decorated the cookie, and then you have an opportunity to try to get it as close as you can.
I'm not even gonna lie, I love that show. Nailed it. I'd die laughing. And that's where the creativity in me would not work, because I'm definitely not good at that part, but that's great. I love that. And what day is that?
That's July the 26th.
Okay. So July 26th. So that's coming up, but people can register for that online.
Yes.
And how much is the cost for it?
So it's $50 and there are 5 seats left.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. I want to do that. Maybe I'll do that with my daughter too. I'll come down and do that. There's all kinds of things I want to do. I just need to find the time to do them. And then, like you said, you also have like the perfume bar.
And then we have an open house coming up on August the 2nd. That's from 11 to 2. We've invited Cravables, the ice cream truck, to come and serve ice cream for the first 75 people that come. So you could stop by and get a scoop of ice cream from them for free to celebrate this sweet event of turning 1.
Oh, I love that. And you said that's what day? August the 1st?
2nd.
Oh, 2nd. August the 2nd. So, okay, perfect. Now, what does it look like, cost-wise to come in and create a candle? I'm sure that it ranges, there's different ranges for it.
We've tried to keep it simple. So it's $45 for the candle. It includes everything to make the candle and the wine. So you get 2 glasses of wine while you're there.
Okay.
Or soda or whatever you would like to drink. The perfume bar is the same price as $45. And then you would get a 10 ml bottle of fragrance, and you also would have access to the wine and everything that we serve.
Okay.
The events, we try to keep them very close in price as well. The events are usually about $50. The great thing about the events is that we also will serve some dessert. So it's a candle and something else.
Gotcha.
So whether we've had a Taylor Swift theme event, Beyonce, Cowboy Carter event. We've even had a cocktails and candles where you create your own cocktail using the wine that we have. So instead of us just serving you the wine, you put it all together. We've had a bartender come in and teach how to put your cocktail together during the break of while your candle is solidifying.
I am definitely going to need to come to that one when you do it again. That sounds really cool. And I do love that is very affordable. And I like that you've kept it simple, and it's not like, well, if you do this, it's this, and this is this, and you come in and you just don't know. Like if you're coming in up front, you know what that cost is. I think that's so, that's so great for somebody who's on a budget and is looking for something fun to do, but they don't want to come in and, have all these added, fees. It's all inclusive. So I really love that as well. Now, where are you located?
So we're located at 205 9th Street. It's right on the side of the City Hall building.
Okay. So in downtown Lynchburg.
Yes.
Perfect. And that should be pretty simple for everyone to find. I don't want to hear about the parking. You can find parking down there quite easily. if you're looking for it. But do make sure that you're not parking in any garages that you're not supposed to be in. I always put that in there when I'm talking to anyone about, parking in downtown. But, I think downtown Lynchburg is really growing, and it's great to see small businesses like yours that are popping up in the downtown area. And giving opportunities, for people to come out and explore that creative side. Now, what is the best way for someone to book with you or to find out more information?
I always tell people to watch our social media
Okay.
pages. So we're on Facebook and Instagram. We have a TikTok that's not as active, but
Yeah.
we do have one. Our website is going to be the best way. Any updates, we do put it on social media, though.
That's you sound like me. I'm not big on the TikTok, but yeah. So like she said, she does have. I know, like going on the train is always loves to come in the middle of my podcast, but you can go on your website, which is wickpourcandlebar.com.
Yes.
And you can book there, because that's what I was looking at here. The opportunity to it's very easy and simple to book and register online, for any of the events that they have going on. And, and you can pay right through there too. So that's really cool. How long, I know we talked about, you said the candle workshops usually last about an hour or so, hour to 2 hours.
They last about an hour and 15 minutes, and then you can leave with your candle.
Okay. Can somebody, and I'm kind of checking out like your fact page, because I want to tell some people, like, can they bring, you were talking about the vessels, the things that the candles, can people bring their own items? Like if they want to put a candle or make a candle inside of like maybe a special to them sort of vase or?
Yeah. So we have a refill program where people can bring the vessels that they received from us when they came,
right?
And they can refill their own vessels back up with a different fragrance. Unfortunately, you can't bring just anything. We've tested these fragrances inside of the vessels to make sure that they are safe for people to have at their homes. So you can't bring other vessels in just because we haven't tested to make sure that it will burn correctly.
Right. And I wanted to bring that up because I feel that there are probably people that would show up and go, oh, I have this really cool thing I want to put a candle in. And, you do hear, at times where, things like that, if they're not in the correct containers, can explode or cause accidents. And you don't want to have that. So I actually think that's a really great policy to have, that, they're using your space. But I also love the opportunity for the refill program where they can, recreate it once that, candle has expired and you're ready to try something new.
Right.
Yeah. Now what about, I know I was reading on here that, every guest has to have a ticket. So make sure if you're coming with somebody, you don't just pop up with like an extra, kid in tow and just hope for the best, because y'all have limited seating, like you were saying earlier. So, just wanted to kind of put that out there as well. My other question is, if someone does get a ticket, are they, refundable, or you want to make sure you come when you pay for your tickets ahead of time?
Yes, the tickets are non-refundable, but we will work with you to be able to set an appointment for another date. Even if it's, like I said, you can have just a private event. So even if you need to come in on a different day that's not listed there, just reach out to us and we'll try to work around your schedule and ours to make it work.
Okay, very cool. And I know you've touched on this a little bit while we were talking, but I want to bring it up because, again, I'm scrolling through. I've just found all this, like, her website is so informational. So if you have any questions, definitely check it out because there's lots of information on there. But I really wanted to highlight that you guys you're part of the Save the Earth crew. Like, what is that? Talk a little bit about that, because I think that's amazing.
Yes, so we, with the refill program and just making sure that we use products that are eco-friendly, nothing that's going to hurt yourself, or as much as we can save the earth.
Mm-hmm.
We just are very conscious about making sure that we use quality products that are good for humans and the earth.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I know you mentioned that the fragrances that you use are, they don't have those cancer-causing agents. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I know I have seen fairly recently people talking about how, oh, you shouldn't have candles, you shouldn't burn candles. And, that may not necessarily be true. You just need to make sure that you're using the right candles and asking questions when you're, purchasing, candles. So, when you're going to these big box stores and you're just pulling candles off the shelves, you don't really know what's in them or how they've been made. But by, coming out here, supporting a local business and going to Wick and Pour, that they're using, quality ingredients and things that are not going to affect your health.
Absolutely.
So I think that's super important to just note because, again, I'm all about the supporting local and, having, and also the experience, like you talked about, just coming out and having the experience and time. I think that's one thing we all take for granted, just the time we have with people. So, having an opportunity to come out with your family and friends and create something really cool, but have that, the memories that you can make.
Yes. And even if you come alone, by the time that you leave the candle bar, you aren't alone.
Right. You've made memories with Chantel. You're over there.
Yes. And we have people, it's so interesting to see people sitting around the table because we may have a grandmother talking to a new mom.
Right.
And they're discussing things and we're just really like making conversation and just seeing all of the things that all of us go through that we might not think that our neighbor goes through, but it's totally normal.
Mm-hmm. So you're getting ready to celebrate 1 year in business, like in your brick and mortar space. I know you've been doing it probably a little bit longer than that 1 year, but what are some of your goals? What are some things you hope to see with the Candle Bar moving forward?
Some goals that we have at the Candle Bar, soon we're going to add shipping.
Okay.
So you'll be able to purchase stuff online and we can ship it to you or in store pickup. We also would like to make a couple of other events that we haven't had. We would like to have a calligraphy and candles event. We're just trying to figure out because you can make your own label and we want to make the labels even better. So we would like to have that event and we have several other events that we're looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. And I think it would be really cool to, if you're out there and you're thinking of fun things to do for your business, like if you're trying to do employee appreciation or, just some team building activities. I think going out and going to Wick and Pour and having your employees do some of that team building. I think it'd be really cool to do like a CVABC night and have members come out and let's see what we can create. I think that would be really neat to do. But yeah, I definitely would check that opportunity out. How far in advance, like if you're wanting to do, like, let's say Christmas time, how far in advance do you, would you suggest maybe looking to book? Can you book that far out yet? Or how does that work?
We update the schedule every season. So we're about to, release our fall schedule and that will take us through the end of October.
Okay.
Right now, I think the website is updated through August.
Okay. Awesome. Now I'm going to, we ask every one of our guests 2 questions. Mike is usually our question asker, and then he always likes to make sure I did it, even though he doesn't show up, which I think is rude. How long have you been a member of the CVABC?
About 6 months.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been about 5 or 6. And, right now I know being a newer member, what do you see as some of the biggest benefits of being a member of the CVABC?
Oh, the exposure.
Okay.
Definitely the exposure. I came to the office after I became a member. I was able to talk to y'all face to face and just try to figure out, okay, so my slower months are in June and July.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that I can do in order to help me during those slower months? And you all had suggestions and told me what exactly y'all would be able to offer to help me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because that's one thing I think a lot of our members don't realize. Like, we're always there for just to bounce ideas off of. I mean, even if you message and just say, hey, I'm looking at doing this. Can you suggest something or a way to get it out there? We love to be able to, help and, just give you, and they may not always work, but at least kind of try and share, what we think could work. So, yeah, but I appreciate it. And we definitely appreciate you being a member. Would love to, I'm going to, try and come to the open house, and would love to even maybe bring a ribbon, do a little ribbon cutting at the open house. Be kind of cool for your 1 year. But I thank you for coming in with us today and telling everybody about Wick and Pour. I love the opportunity of this podcast to be able to let people know about businesses that they may have never heard of before, because I know as a small business owner, it's hard to get your name out, sometimes. And people go, oh, they always wait till when you're closing to go, oh, I didn't even know that business was there. And, that's what we are trying to prevent. We want people to know, like, hey, they're there, and it's a really awesome business to go and support. So tell us one more time, your website, or, how to get a hold of you.
Yes. So the website is www.wickpourcandlebar.com. And you can message us on social media, Facebook or Instagram. And our store number is 434-851-4320.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to cut to a quick commercial, and we will be right back. Today's podcast is brought to you by Omega Disaster Restoration, located in Campbell County, Virginia. Omega specializes in water, fire, and smoke damage restoration, as well as mold remediation. Their region includes Central and Southwest Virginia, which spans a vast service area from Blacksburg to Charlottesville and Stanton to Danville.
In addition to disaster restoration and full-service reconstruction and remodeling, Omega is proud to offer custom all-wood cabinets through their Hanover Woodworking Studio, custom countertops via their Top Solution Studio, and dumpster services through Old Dominion Dumpsters, all part of the Omega family of brands. A beautiful showroom is currently under construction at their Exchange Drive location and will be soon open to the public, showcasing their diverse offerings.
Customers can call 434-616-4659 for emergency assistance with water, fire, smoke damage, or mold remediation needs. Omega provides 24/7 emergency response, ensuring that help is always available. Locally owned and not a franchise, Omega is your first and last call in any emergency, restoring your home or business from beginning to end. For more information about Omega Disaster Restoration and their comprehensive services, please visit omegadisasterrestoration.com/VA/Lynchburg.
One thing protects it all, your roof. And when you've got a new one, you're set for decades. I'm Andrew Lee. Our company, Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors, is trusted by homeowners and businesses for all roofing and exterior projects. Shingles, metal, slate, gutters, windows, siding, decks, and more. Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors is your go-to for all protection and efficiency. Get your free no-hassle inspection today. Call or text 434-515-2868. Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors, protecting from the top down.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are so happy to have you tuning in with us. And if you're just checking us out here on the second half of the show, make sure to go back and listen to the first half. We had Chantel West with Wick and Pour Candle Bar. Super cool experience in downtown Lynchburg for you to go out and, just have a good evening, create your own candles, create your own scents, just really cool. So we are joined, though, for the second half of the show. We're going to be chatting about something very, very, I think, important. And that is with Jonathan Mullins with Central Virginia Financial Services. Welcome.
Thank you, Heather.
It's great to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
And, it's great to have you coming in. I know we've chatted a little bit about insurance and Medicare with you in the past, but we're going to be chatting about something a little bit different today because you offer so many different services. But before we get into it, tell us a little bit about, what you do overall.
Well, what I tell everybody, and it's actually a little strange, is that our company does everything that has the word insurance in it for the most part, even home and auto and things like that. But there are some things that stand out that really help people, and some of it carries a personal stigma or whatever for myself as well, because I really know that it's really something that people really need to hear. And I can't keep saying the word really, but that really is what I mean.
So today we are going to be talking about, personal funeral advisor services?
It's actually final expense insurance. Now, I got some stories here. Heather, basically, the reason I got this, well, there was two reasons. First reason was my parents, when they passed away, they didn't have any type of insurance or anything, and it really made a problem for us.
Mm-hmm.
And the situation that you run yourself into is, I still am part of a big family. And when you have your parents pass away and they start passing the hat, or worst case scenario, which is something that really kind of makes my heart hurt, is when I see the GoFundMe or something else on Facebook or something like that. And this actually eliminates that, um, that need to do that. And it's not expensive. It's
Yeah.
something relatively inexpensive.
Yeah. If people have, it's funny. I was just talking about this last week because we just had Finch and Finch Funeral Home in Alta Vista just joined last week, and Trey and I were talking. I get on my soapbox quite a bit about the cost for funeral arrangements, and purchasing them pre-need or at need, and making sure that you have that pre-planning done before you need it, because the expenses are astronomical, and in a time of grief, that's the last thing you want to be worried about, is where are the funds going to come from to be able to bury your loved one or to continue your life moving forward without them, and without whether it's their income or things like that too. And that's where you see a lot of the GoFundMe's popping up, is people who haven't planned and they don't have that option.
And Heather, I'd be honest with you. I don't know the exact figures, but I would venture to say it's at least 75% of the population do not have
Oh yeah,
life insurance.
yeah, 100%.
And they may have life insurance with their employer, but their employer's policies are not what they call portable.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you get let go, you don't get that. You have nothing.
Right.
Personally, I had that situation happen to me. I was employed by a pretty well-known company in the area, and had $500,000 worth of life insurance. Walked in 2 days after New Year's, and they laid me off.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked in having $500,000 worth of life insurance, walked out having nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, if you can see me, I'm a bigger guy, and I, have some situations, and as far as that's concerned. So, it's one of those things where you really need to prepare. And I've heard some people say, and I don't really understand this, and this was my parents' way of thinking, that, oh, my kids will take care of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know if you know, but I think a lot of people who've heard me, but I worked for a cemetery for a full year, and not my favorite job I've ever had. But the worst part about it, honestly, though, was having families come in that had that very same kind of concept. Like, okay, well, my family can take care of it. And there's a lot of different pieces to planning a funeral. You've got stuff you have to do at the cemetery. You've got stuff you have to do at the funeral home. And so even though they may have purchased like their one thing, there's like 4 or 5 others. Like you have to pay for a vault. You have to pay for the opening and close. There's so much you have to pay for, and you have to know. And so when you're trying to, again, deal with people that are coming in and like they're grieving, the last thing I want to do is push, basically it's sales on them, because you're selling them, what they have to have. But it really is hard on the families, and it's also hard on the employees that are doing it. So this makes it much simpler.
Yeah, the final expense situation here, if I could just kind of give you a little bit of
Let's talk
overview.
about it.
Basically what it is it, just as it's saying, it's final expense, which means that it's not meant for a legacy. If you want to, have $100,000 or $200,000 policy and leave a legacy for your kids and your grandkids, this is not it. This is for the person that's sitting down right now, listening to this and going, well, you know what? I don't know when I'm going to pass away. It could be tomorrow. I think that COVID taught us that, and
Mm-hmm.
everything else that, it taught us that, you don't know when you're going to go home. And the situation here is that what this will do is this allows you to make that arrangement right away. And you don't need to buy, like I said, 100,000. You can't buy 100,000 on this. So we have some statistics that show that, most, if you're going to go the route of, you were talking about being, the burial and and that type of thing, you want to get maybe $10,000, $15,000, and get that, going. With this, what we do is it's with Lincoln Heritage Company, and they charge by the thousand. Now, if anybody's ever heard of Lincoln Heritage is the number one final expense company in the world. And you know why that is, Heather?
I do not.
That's all they do.
Okay.
They do nothing else. They don't do anything else except this. They have specialized, and when you can say that this is the company does only this one thing. I don't think there's any company else really in the world that can say they just do one product and one product only. But they do this one product and they do it exceptionally well. They price it. They do some very good things with it. And like I said, what you do is you would come see me at my office, or I could come see you, really, actually. And what we do is we sit down and we say, what are your wishes? What would you like to have when you pass away? And right now, I got to tell you, Heather, the majority of the people that I talk to are looking for being cremated.
Right. Yep.
Cremation seems to be the most popular thing in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does have something to do with cost and, the fact that it's not really that, when I say time consuming, I mean that, you don't have to sit down. You don't have to look through books. You don't have to look through things. Basically, what you do is I want to be cremated. If you want an urn or something, you can get an urn, and then you're looking at maybe having a get together afterwards or something like that. But what Lincoln Heritage does, and what I'm going to share this, and I think this is the sales point that everybody really needs to hear, is that Lincoln Heritage actually brought in a company called the Funeral Consumer Guardianship Society. They are a society that, again, all they do is arrange funerals. It's the only thing they do. So when you buy a policy with Lincoln Heritage, whether it be for 1,000 or 10,000 or 15,000, whatever the case may be, you get a free membership to this Funeral Consumer Guardianship Society.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty substantial. I mean, these folks, that's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
And what the great part about it is, if there can be a great part about doing something like this, is that when you buy a policy, you get the policy in the mail, or I get it, and I visit you in your home, and there is a form in there from the Funeral Consumer Guardianship Society, and it says, "What do you want when you pass away?" And you fill the form out. You and I sit down and we talk about it. We fill it out, and if you want to be, buried, where do you want to be buried? It's making the arrangements for you, and then we go ahead and we put down all the information, even to the time, what kind of song would you like to have sung? Would you like to have anything, any kind of special passage or poem or anything like that stated? What that does is, again, going back to my personal story with my parents, is that we had no idea what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
They never shared that with us. I know they were Christian people, but they never shared with us exactly what they wanted. And so, when I have 7 siblings, which I do, everybody had a different idea of what should be done. And to this day, I have issues with some of my brothers and sisters simply because we actually fought over it, which is
Right.
stupid and silly, and didn't need to be done.
Yeah.
And
You hear that a lot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hear that quite a bit with the people I talk to, because the kids or brothers, if there's siblings, or if there's children involved, or if there's so many different things that can really lead to a family issue. So
Mm-hmm.
we try and avoid that by doing this. And what happens with this, and that form that I was telling you about, Heather, is we take that form and we send it to the Funeral Consumer Guardianship Society. what they do is they list it under your name and they give you a specific account number. And with that account number, let's say for me, let's say it's me that I'm the one that passed away. So which by the way, I have bought one of these policies, if that means anything. But I did buy one. I'm 61. I just never know. You could be driving down the street on 460 or something. Goodness knows what could happen. But anyway, what happens is if it's me that passes away, I have already given my wife a card that says, Funeral Consumer Guardianship Society, and it has my account number and it's got a phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So what she does is she calls that account number, a phone number,
Mm-hmm.
gives them the account number. And we have heard a lot of testimonials of people that have done that. And when you call them, what they do is they pull up your wishes. So let's say I do have a preferred funeral home. Let's say maybe I do, but I personally don't. But what they do is they call that funeral home. They actually spell out to them what you want.
Okay.
And when they do that, they expect a price back. And there's no haggling. There's no, well, do you think they want this? Do you think they want that? No. We've already talked about that. This is exactly what they want. We don't need to try and, make this any different way.
Mm-hmm.
Then they give them a price. And what the Funeral Consumer Guardianship Society will do is they will call two other funeral homes in the area and get a quote. And then because that one was your preferred funeral home, if they get a cheaper quote, they will call that funeral home back and say, yeah, we got a quote for this from this funeral home. Would you be willing to do it for that amount? So, what it is it's really, you've got someone on your side that's totally unattached to the situation. No real, grief emotion other than the fact that, they deal with death all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they can effectively take care of you and your family. What happens is that if that were to happen, my wife wouldn't have to go searching, wouldn't have to go. Anybody has gone to a funeral home, sat there across from the desk and gotten through those 2 or 3 big, huge binders and all that kind of stuff. You know how taxing that could be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and, touching on like what you said earlier, nobody, you just never know. And, I think a lot of people know, like my brother passed away 5 years ago. Accidentally, he didn't have any funeral arrangements. He didn't have any plans, so when we had to go to the funeral home, my parents and his wife, they didn't really, have any idea what to do or, luckily, not luckily, but I guess luckily in a way is luckily, as we were saying earlier, luckily I had already had the experience of working for the cemetery and knew my way around, some of the things. And, when people are trying to sell you stuff, I was like, yeah, no, I don't need that. Like, cause I already knew what we needed, but he didn't have any life insurance. He had nothing. So it was like, you had to pay that up front. And when, they told us what the cost was, I could just already see like, my sister-in-law didn't at the time have it. And my parents didn't have, my dad was like, well, I guess I can try and put it on some credit cards or something. And, we ended up being one of those families that did a GoFundMe and, were able to do it, but it's not always that simple. And you shouldn't have to. And if you have opportunities to do it ahead of time, and I say that, and this is not for people who are older, right? Like
it's for anybody.
It's for
and
anybody. You should think about, my brother was 39. 39. You don't think about that, but you should. You should think about things like that because again, you don't know.
Yeah, and final expense really, it's a unique market. It is some for people that, maybe don't want to or can't make it through underwriting on regular life insurance.
Can you get plans with this, like for your children or or is it just for like yourself, or is there the opportunity to do,
you can
do it for like, even if you have like a younger, just to have it in case the unexpected happens?
Absolutely. You can do that. That's not a problem. And that's just one, and actually you can just go ahead and get, when you get yourself one, and then you can just get them one. I've had people do that all the time, because they don't necessarily want to make money off or have a legacy for their, you know, 8-year-old that had an accident, or something like
Yeah.
that. And you know, um, one of the things that I face all the time, and I know, Heather, I know you know this, is that we face a lot of situations where, for me at insurance, I I get accused of things like, being an ambulance chaser and things like that.
Mm,
But you know what? These are things that happen. Unfortunately, I'm not happy that they happen.
right.
But the thing is that you want to be prepared.
Yeah.
And that, you say, well, I don't want to be, if I get prepared, or if it's like, oh, now that I said it out loud, it's going to happen. I've heard people say something like that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
no, this is just something that you really need to be prepared to do. And, take care of. So it's not just for older, but if I personally, as an agent, someone comes to me and they're younger age, and I think, you know what, you can pass underwriting. Would you like a larger amount?
Right.
Or would you like to try and get a larger amount? I'll do that. But, if you've got a lot of folks are, they're really overweight, they don't match the height and weight. And I know that's the stress of that.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is look at me and know that I don't match the height and weight thing. But so the thing is that, people get so stressed out. It's almost like they get shamed because they can't pass this ideal physical situation that gives them that,
Right.
ability to get, you know, regular insurance. But I'm going to tell anybody who's listening, overcome that and just come and see me, or just give me a call, because that's what we do. There's no shame in that whatsoever. I think if you listen to um, a lot of the things out there for health, you're going to see that, you know, what's the statistics? 80% of the people in the United States are overweight.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yeah. I think so. It's around
uh,
that.
and of course, I always tell people I'm not overweight. I'm under tall. I should be 7'6". So that's not, but that's not what.
Yes, I'm definitely not. I've got the short people issue, so that's where I always fall into play. Yeah.
Um, but I would like to mention a couple of other positives of this as well.
Okay.
And one of the ones is that this actually is a whole life policy. And to some people, that means absolutely nothing. But
Okay.
what I'm trying to explain to you is that as you pay into this, let's say you pay into it for, 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, you gain cash value on the policy.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. You're not throwing your money away. It's not something like, they say, well, term life, all I do is I just pay out, pay out, pay out, pay out. And unless I die, I'm never going to see any of the money, which you're not going to see it when you die anyway. But, if you have the policy for 8, 10 years, whatever, you can get you can get a loan on it. You can, there's other things that you can do, but still have that coverage.
So what does like cost wise getting one of these plans look like? And I'm sure it varies depending on the needs of each individual, but is it relatively affordable?
Well, I will tell you that the ones that are just, let's say, just overweight, or just having, a little, small issues,
Mm-hmm.
that is, usually like $6, $7 per thousand.
Okay.
But it is by age,
Okay.
and by sex.
Okay.
So it's a female, a certain age has, it's an actuarial thing. Don't ask me to explain it. I really don't know it.
Yeah.
But if you have something like a heart condition, or if you've had something like that, then you have what's called graded benefit.
Mm-hmm.
You're still qualified for it, but it's called graded benefit. And what that means is the first year first of all, your premium is a little higher, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because like I said, it still gains cash value. So as it gets, when it gets higher, um, you get the benefit of still having that insurance. But what happens is that if you pass away in the first year, and I mean, these are people that are really seriously at risk.
Right.
If you pass away in the first year, you get everything you put into it, all your premium plus 10% of your premium.
Okay.
Second year, you get all of your premium for the 2 years plus 20% premium insurance, 20% interest. So what that, they really take care of you at that point. And then in the third year, you're going to be at your regular. So if you bought $10,000 worth of life insurance, you would actually get that graded benefit. When you get the third year, you would be
Gotcha.
at full
Coverage.
coverage.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, so what is the best way for somebody to reach out to you to get started?
Absolutely, I would recommend just giving me a call at 434-229-8887. And that actually that's my work number, my cell number, or you can call my office at 434-300-8678. The other thing you can do is on my website, which is CVFS Charlie Victor Frank Sam.net. If you go on there, you can go to the contact me page, and I have links on there where you can actually make an appointment with me, and just at your own leisure and at your own schedule. And what we'll do is we'll go over it, and there's no, you don't have to take the policy, but it's just something that I would really like to talk to people about, because through my own life experience, it's very difficult to try and deal with that. It really is. And if you, and I hate to say this because it sounds like a guilt trip, but if you love your family and you really care about your family and you don't want them to have to go through the financial grief as well as the physical grief, it's going to be, it's going to be difficult. One last thing, I know our time is short. One last thing I want to say is, if you have you say, well, I have regular insurance and I have regular insurance, and typically the claim time for regular insurance is anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
This is 24 hours. You get a check in 24 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and that's documented, and, they know that you need it. And, it is an answer to your issue of having to deal with financial issues with, any type of funeral arrangement. But, give me a call and or go on my website and make an appointment, and we can sit down and talk about it.
All right. Well, thank you for, coming on and telling everyone about this program. It is an important program, and I will say, just as a quick plug, Jonathan is very knowledgeable in what he does. I've actually had him, meet with my parents, and has done some things with my mom and dad. So, put that out there and do with that what you will. But, I just wanted to, say that it's definitely something you should look into. Well, before you go, I got to ask you the two questions that we ask all of our guests. The first one being, how long have you been a member of the CVABC?
Oh, what's it been? It started out being, my goodness,
Forever.
Years. It's been years.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long, long time.
You can't get rid of me. You just can't. No, but it has. It has been. I mean, I know.
I first signed up in 2009.
Yeah. It's been since I've been here. I've been on board too. So yeah, it's been a very long, long time. What do you find is one of the biggest benefits of being a member?
CVABC is incredible. Well, first of all, you're one of the biggest assets.
Oh my gosh, where's Mike? Where is Mike? No, I'm just, yes.
No, seriously, you're one of the biggest assets, and you help, and see, the thing is, what you usually, when you go into a group, you'll pay your dues, and then, you don't really hear from them. They don't really, it doesn't seem like they care. But, one quick plug, Christmas Eve. Do you remember what happened Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve.
No,
wait.
Our heat went out. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
My personal heater went out.
Yes.
I called Heather, and I said, look, I need somebody that does that does HVAC. I started to say CVABC.
Yes.
HVAC. I need somebody that does that because it's Christmas Eve, and I need to have my heat in my house. You referred me to somebody. He was out there in an hour.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, that was great. So
Yep.
even stuff like that, where you can say, look, I don't know who to call. I know that the people that are in your organization They're just stand-up people and they care about people.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is. And it's not been the first time that it's happened, and it probably won't be the last. But I'm the same way.
Yeah, I get a lot of that just talking about the relationships, where they see a difference between certain groups and just the way that the camaraderie and, I always say, and Mike and I have said this before, and it sounds cliche, but like it is like we're a family. I mean, we do all work together and, get to know each other and get to know each other's, even their families. And we do things, together. And that's, when someone calls, even on Christmas Eve, like, I didn't message him and say, Jonathan, it's Christmas Eve, leave me alone. No.
It was just the opposite.
You have to be there to support one another. That's how businesses thrive and grow.
You answered your phone on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
I called. Now that was a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. And we greatly appreciate Jonathan. He's a member. He's also a sponsor of our organization, which we don't take lightly. Businesses that, agree to support us on a higher level so that we can continue to support the businesses and the community around us. So thank you for that. But definitely get in touch with Jonathan. Why don't you throw out the number and the website again one more time before we go?
Sure. Office number is 434-300-8678. My cell number is 434-229-8887. And my website is just very simple, www.cvfscharlievictorfranksam.net.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you for tuning in to Talk Local to Me. You can find any of the information from our guests or for any of the events that we talked about today on our website, www.cvabc.org. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. And we look forward to talking local with you again next Wednesday.